I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co, and today I'm reviewing Orbit from Bitewing Games. Orbit is a 2-to-4 player racing game designed by Reiner Knizia in which players are flying through space on their spaceships trying to visit the various planets and then return back to their starting planet in order to win the game. That's it. You're just wandering around the galaxy trying to visit various planets, except everything's moving in space and you can't possibly find a landing spot anywhere because the planets are hurtling through space at millions of miles an hour and you're just trying to time that perfect landing. It's hard. It's hard in this game. The basic idea is on your turn you're going to pick one of your cards. Players have a starting hand size as well as a starting amount of energy cubes they can store over here. We'll explain that shortly. And then they have all these planets that are their places they're trying to go. You'll notice I don't have the red planet because I'm the red player, so I need to return to the red planet in order to win the game. At the very end, after I've done everything else, that's when I need to return. So I'm going to look at my cards. I'm going to play a card. In this case, I'm going to play this card. And I can do any of the things in any order. I can move my spaceship 1, I can move the red planet, and I can take energy cubes, in this case up to 3, but because I have a maximum of 2, I can only take 2. So let's start with that. I'm going to take, I'm going to start with that. I'm going to take that over there. I'm going to take these, and I'm going to add them to my supply over here, which gives me extra movement, which is going to be essential for what I'm trying to do. Then I'm going to move this red planet along its little arrow. So there is an arrow. I have to follow the arrow unless I place something that can reverse the planet over here. But for right now, I'm going to go ahead and move this and move it along the destination path, point towards the next area. That was another thing I did. Then I'm going to move 1, which is great, except for one problem is I can't reach this blue planet where I'm trying to go. Fortunately, you can spend energy in order to move further. So I'm going to spend another 1, 2 in order to visit the blue planet. And boom, I've accomplished that blue planet. That was easy. That was super, super easy. Barely an inconvenience. Except it's easy when there's any number of possible options in front of you, which there are at the start of the game. As the game continues, things are going to be hurtling around the board, and it's one thing when you can visit any planet, it's another thing when the last planet you need is the orange planet and players are desperately trying to keep it away from you. That's basically a turn. You already know 90% of the game at this point. It's pretty straightforward. You play a card, you activate the ability on the card, you activate the movement, and then you move any associated planets, and then you refill towards your hand size. Now, visiting planets is not the only thing you can do. You can also pick up all these various discs over here if you land on them. You do have to choose. You can't just pass over things. You have to land on them in order to activate them, so you can't just get a ton of stuff on your turn because of luck of the draw. You have to choose where you're going. So, for example, I could have tried to get over here in order to increase my energy capacity, in order to hold on to more energy. Or maybe I take one of these, refilling my energy to max, or increasing my hand size. Or possibly, where are they? There's some things, these things over here, they let you hurtle across the galaxy as far as you want in a straight line, which is incredibly fun, by the way. Also, one of the expansions lets you do that. It's the best expansion. We'll come back to that soon. But basically, you're choosing to either visit a planet, or alternatively to pick things up along the way, or alternatively just to close the distance, to get off of something and get closer to something that you'll have control of. Keeping in mind, by the way, your hand is actually not public. Other players can't see it, so you can kind of try to plan around what you're going to do based on that. Like, you could be like setting yourself up and drop off somewhere, knowing you have the ability to move a planet closer to you. But that's all you're really doing on your turn. You are upgrading your tableau, you are visiting planets. Some of the planets, by the way, the ones that are not player colors, will also let you upgrade your tableau. Visit the orange planet, and boom, you can also increase your energy. Gather the brown planet, and you can shoot across the galaxy, which is really, really helpful to being able... It's cool. It's really cool when you shoot across the galaxy in this game. That's the basics of how you play Orbit. You're going to be moving planets, you're going to be drawing cards. Some of them are incredibly insane. You have these, some of them you can be drawing multiple, you can be moving multiple planets, you can move one planet. There's some cards over here that you move all the planets. You have to go in order. Here we go. You don't get an ability, but you have to move all the planets and you get 2 movements. So you have to try to figure out how you're going to use that to completely mess up all the other players as you move the galaxies around the board, planets around the board in the galaxy. That's the base game. There are a bunch of modules and expansions though. Some of the modules, there's a team-based module, there's a 2-player module, there's a module where you have another planet over here where you're trying to, you set up one of these on one of these tokens, you replace one of those, and then you have to revisit another planet. This one's static, it never moves, so it just gives you an extra planet to visit. Then there's the expansions. The expansions over here, these are a ton of fun. Some of those cards I had in my hand, I don't know what's fine one over here. Some of those cards have this little purple symbol, which is only relevant if you're playing with this expansion, and it basically allows you to put these on the board, vanishing spots into nothingness. So effectively, as you place them along a pathway, you can no longer enter that path because it doesn't exist. You'd have to go around it in some capacity using your spaceship, so it can mess plays up that way. But more than that, when the purple planet is moving along here, it completely skips that spot going to the next area, which especially towards the end of the game, you'll have some fun setups where a particular planet might have like 5 of these on its route and it's just jumping randomly across the board. So these are a lot of fun to play. But my favorite expansion by far are these, where once you fully upgrade your energy track, instead of just having max energy, you replace it with this. And now whenever you get energy, instead of having energy, you can no longer hold on to or use energy. You can simply jump across the board as far as you want in a straight line to visit whatever planets happen to be in a straight line from where you are, which again is massively fun. But all players can do so, and it does change up the way you play the game. With this in play, players are trying to get to full energy bars as fast as possible because the ability to just hyper jump across the galaxy, it's not just useful, it's massively fun. It's easily my favorite expansion in this game, which I guess means we're diving into review territory. So let's go ahead, let's talk about a review, what I like, don't like, and see others not liking, because again, this game is very straightforward. You can give people a hand of cards and then just start taking turns and they'll understand how to play, which I guess is the first thing I like. This game is incredibly accessible. It is easy to understand on your own, and it's very easy to get people up and running. You just tell them what they do and they start doing things, and it clicks very, very quickly. You do have to make sure to not, have a crazy starting turn yourself because you know what you're actually doing. But literally just walk them through a few turns. If you want reset, it is so easy to understand, and it is accessible as far as the game time, to teach, to learn, and it's just fun. It is fun to wander across the galaxy, landing on planets. Your first turns are super rewarding because there's so many options in front of you. You can always do something. And then as the game progresses, it gets harder. You are more powered up. You have more energy, more cars, possibly a giant hyperspace cannon over here. You have more tools at your disposal, but you need those tools because players are playing keep away from you trying to win the game. You're trying to win. You have one planet left to go, and that means other players are focusing not just on how they get their goals, but how to stop you from getting yours. So it has a nice progression of instant gratification combined with actually feeling like you earned those final planets because they're harder and players are playing keep away from you. The upgrading in the game is satisfying. The choice of how to upgrade over here, again, if you're playing with expansions, even more so, but even just upgrading your hand size or your things, it has a tableau building aspect to it, which you will need, and the expansions and modules, for the most part, are fun. Like this one over here, I feel this was unimaginative. Like you just have a static extra planet on the board. It's just like, hey, here's one more planet for you to visit, and it also doesn't move. I feel like this could have been significantly more interesting. Like, I like the concept of another planet, but like make it super cool as opposed to the most boring planet. So I almost want to come up with house rules for this one. I haven't even thought of it yet, but it just feels like adding a planet and making it the most boring planet yet is not the way I would have done that. But I will say, the other expansions, the Nebulize over here, these are massively fun, totally changed up the game. This over here, this Hyperspace Cannon, love it, I've already said that. So the expansions and modules, for the most part, are solid additions to the game to further enhance the gameplay. And not to mention, of course, the beautiful color palette. It just looks pretty and attractive on the table. It looks like very, very colorful, don't get me wrong, but it does pull players into the game and other players into watching what's happening on the table. As far as things I don't like in the game, first of all, the replay value, nothing is really changing game to game here. This is a pure racing game where, granted, the setup of the planets and that works is changing, so the starting setup is different, but this doesn't really change. There is another side to the board. In fact, I'm actually on side B right now. Those have some branching pathways, some more interesting things there, but it doesn't change. It is the core experience, is draw a bunch of cards, race around the galaxy, collect things. Nothing changes up the gameplay. So it's pretty much ultimately, do you enjoy a 45-minute racing game where you run around the galaxy trying to collect things or not? And it can very much suffer from kingmaking. This is definitely a complaint over here, where you can and will have it that players are trying to play keep away from you about to win, and that means somebody else will manage to sneak in the win because everyone else is focusing trying to stop you, that someone else will win. So at a certain point, because of the games of keep away at the end, sometimes a player wins just because we ran out of time to hold back everyone, and somebody eventually has to win the game. As far as what I can see, I was not liking, there's chaos. There's a lot of chaos in this game. There's definitely lucking into easy plays. There's definitely players taking moves that happen to work out, that they move something around the planet that sets you up, and that can lead it to kingmaking to a degree as well. It's a little early on, maybe not. But again, this to me is a game that's far more about the fun. Yes, you are making strategic choices. Yes, you feel like you're in control of what you're doing. But there's also so much chaos that I'm in control of what I'm doing. I'm not in control of what's being set up on the board and how easy other players make it through their attention or inattention in the game. So if you don't like chaos and other players having a hand in your ability to win, then this is not the game for you. As far as final thoughts on Orbit. Orbit was a game that the first time I played it, I did not love it. Not only did I not love it, I didn't even like it. I thought it was way too chaotic. My first play, I was like, this is just chaos. It's just play cards, move around the galaxy, and then you happen to get things and you happen to get things. As I've played it more, it has really grown on me. I don't know what it was about the first play. In fact, the only reason I gave it a second play is I was speaking to somebody else, and they said, oh yeah, so-and-so said that they bounced off it after the first play, and they really grew on them. So I'm like, okay, I'll try it again. And so I kept playing it, and it's really grown on me, which is interesting as well, because one of my complaints is the replayability aspect, which I still do feel it lacks something different every time you play, which is fine. Not all games need to be different, but it does lack that for me. But as I've played it more, I've appreciated the pure chaos of the game experience, the pure chaos of the other players, of the planets moving around the board, of the control other players have, or the inattention that they have, and then my ability to try to find something cool to do within those. And again, I cannot say this enough, I love this Hyperspace Cannon. It is so much fun. I personally don't play without this expansion at this point, even with Nick. New players sometimes, but it's just so much fun to jump across the galaxy chaotically. It's not always the most useful. Sometimes having a few energy cubes are more useful than a straight line anywhere, especially when you get to endgame and players are trying to play Keepoid, the Hyperspace Cannon. Sometimes the flexibility of 3 or 4 or 6 extra movement, 5 extra movement, sometimes that's worth more than going across the galaxy. But it's so much fun to go across the galaxy. So like I spent a decent amount of time talking about this expansion module. It is an expansion module. If you get the base game without it, you don't have it. And I think you should get it if you want this game. I think you should definitely get the expansions. They're better than the modules. I'll tell you that much. So overall, as far as final thoughts on Orbit, I like Orbit. It's one that it took multiple plays for it to grow on me, but I'm enjoying it very much right now. It is one that you have to know the limitations of what it is. It is chaos. It is almost a party experience. It's a lighter, let's have a fun racing game where anything can and will happen. And so that does limit it a bit, but the experience is just fun. So a 4 out of 5 for me. As far as other game recommendations, if you're looking for clever racing games, especially from Reina Knizia, check out the Quest for El Dorado, one of my favorite deck-building racing games. Well, it's one of my favorite racing games. It happens to be a deck-building racing game, but I love that game, and Reina Knizia is continuously delivering interesting takes on the racing game genre. And if you want another fun racing game, check out Steampunk Rally by Roxley. It's one of those games that it's always around, but it's never the most... It never has the most hype and buzz, but it's been around for a very long time, and it's a very clever engine-building racing game that is worth checking out. In any case, until next time, I'm Alex Radical from Board Game Co. I hope you found this video helpful, and as always, I hope you have a good one.